Good afternoon, this is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding, here to discuss the basics of new revenue procedure 2020-17, how it impacts Form 3520 and 3520A penalty waivers, and filing exemptions with respect to Internal Revenue Code Section 6048. That's a mouthful, right? Let's go through the basics. Form 3520 is used to report foreign gifts, inheritances, and certain trust transactions, contributions, sometimes distributions, and ownership. Form 3520A is used to report certain foreign trust, ownership, and transactions. The failure to file these forms can have catastrophic penalties. I'm not the type of attorney to really talk that way. There's a bunch of fear-mongering and scaremongering junk you could find online pretty much anywhere you turn, but the penalties associated with the Forms 3520 and 3520A can be brutal. Now, this new revenue procedure, Proc 2020-17, refers to the trust aspect of these forms. It doesn't have any impact if you didn't report the form for foreign gifts. So, Revenue Procedure 2020-17 works to limit some of the duplicative reporting that occurs with a Form 3520, 3520A. For example, someone has a foreign pension. When a person has a foreign pension, they would typically report that as a foreign financial account on an FBAR, as well as on a Form 8938. These forms will provide the maximum balance, if there's any income generated, if it's duly owned, if the account was open or closed in the current year, things like that. Most of the time, an additional form is not necessary, but technically, foreign pensions can be considered trusts. There's an owner, an administrator, and a beneficiary. And depending on how you read and interpret Form 3520, 3520A, you may find yourself filing this additional form. The form can be difficult, and when it's not filed properly, it can also lead to other problems such as penalties, things like that. So, in order to kind of reduce and eliminate the duplicative reporting, this revenue procedure was released. And essentially what it says is, for certain as to the filing exemption portion, for tax-deferred retirement trusts, tax-deferred non-retirement trusts, if you meet certain elements or requirements, you don't have to file the Form 3520. You still have to file the FBAR and the Form 8938 if required, but you can kind of escape filing the Form 3520, especially when it comes to tax-deferred retirement trusts. There are very specific requirements and exclusions, annual contribution limits, maximum contribution totals, certain trusts, certain foreign pensions such as Australian superannuation and some UK pensions. It's sort of ambiguous as to whether they'll fall within the exemption. In addition to the exemptions, there's also penalty relief. So if you happen to have been unfairly penalized for not reporting Form 3520 timely, correctly, accurately, you can qualify for a penalty waiver. Now, it's a recently released RevProc, so if you have to go back and try to get the penalties eliminated, it's important that you lay it out concisely for the IRS agent who's going to review it. If the only issue you have is the Form 3520 penalty, you probably don't need to do voluntary disclosure or anything like that. You just skate by doing a abatement reasonable cause letter. If you have not been penalized yet, maybe something you don't have to worry about. But if the Form 3520 is just one aspect of what needs to be reported, maybe like most people, you would have never imagined your foreign life insurance policy, foreign pension, things like that are reportable as a foreign account, foreign asset on Form 8938. If you're out of compliance for prior years, there are various amnesty programs available. A voluntary disclosure if you are willful or you cannot certify under penalty of perjury that you're non-willful. They did get rid of OVDP, but they expanded the traditional voluntary disclosure program, which includes offshore and domestic. If you're non-willful, you may qualify for the streamlined filing compliance procedures. This would include the streamlined domestic program and the streamlined foreign program. You may also qualify for reasonable cause pre-penalty if you meet certain requirements. We have lots of free information on our website, goldinglawyers.com. If you want to, you can always contact our firm, schedule a reduced fee initial consultation, 30 and 60-minute slots. Again, my name is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.